Welcome back to Targeted. I'm Atlas Aultman. Today in the studio in East West. We're in Hollywood. It doesn't matter. I have David Chokachi. David Chokachi is an amazing talent, and Jackson's going to put it in right now. That's who David is. David, say hello to everyone.
How you guys doing? Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to do a little bio on you, but I just felt like I got like the 10-minute version, and you're a stud, bro. And thank you for your service and everything you've done. It's awesome. Really awesome.
I tried to tan because I saw you were in the Bahamas lately on your latest rescue mission.
Yeah, Wings of Rescue. Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I have. I started. I've been advocating for dogs ever since. As an actor, you get a voice and you have a platform, and whether it's 2 people or 2,000 or 200,000, like people listen. And you can use it for good, bad, or ugly. And I chose always. I'm going to use this for like things I believe in, and one is the ocean, and the other is, dogs, because I've just had an affinity for dogs my whole life, and the crisis is out of control. So I started out with Best Friends Animal Society, and then during the Palisades fire, they asked if I would come out and load planes. I felt like LA was burning. There's nothing you could do. I was like, I got to get this energy out, and I went out. They were flying dogs out because they knew there'd be a huge incoming of displaced dogs, cats. And the CEO at the time, he's like 72. I just came back to him. He's just a warrior. He's like, I need someone to come into the cargo area. I'm like, bro, that's me, and work. And dude, I just put my head down and worked. And like, I knew how to set the cargo netting. What
were you doing?
So we're stacking 180 dog crates into it's a shelled out cargo plane. There's no frills. There's like no bathroom, nothing for us. Like, and we fly, usually now I fly with them.
Okay.
But, so it's Tetris, and you don't want to leave one dog behind. And, I saw that it was that particular day, the first day was really hot. And I was like, I just anticipated, like, I was thinking ahead, like forward thinking, like these dogs are going to be in this heat for a while. They're in the crates for a while. Like, you got to go fast. And so I just put my head, I grew up on the East Coast with great parents who, not so much like my dad was, his way of relating to his boys was work. You're gonna work like every weekend, and then we had jobs as soon as we were big and tall enough to push a lawnmower. But with the work ethic I got from both my mom and dad is outstanding. My siblings the same, and it's always paid off. And this first plane, I was just like, he was like, what's this guy doing?
Took a step back. He's
so
like,
an hour and a half later, I was covered in sweat, planes loaded, they're all strapped in, cargo netting set. And I'm like, thanks, man. That was incredible. I feel much better. And I walk off down the belt loader, and he goes to the Best Friends people. He's like, who was that guy? And they were like, that was the guy from Baywatch. You didn't know that? And he's like, and he didn't care. And that part's irrelevant. But the fact he goes, in all my 13 years of running Wings of Rescue, and I've never had a volunteer come in who worked so hard, was talking to almost every dog he could. Like, I try and like just give him a quick whisper as I'm pushing him. Like, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And loaded 6 more flights during the Palisades fire. He called me a month later and said, do you want to be a flight crew member? And so now we have been all over the place.
What does that take? What did that entail?
No sleep.
Obviously.
So we usually so let's say a lot of times we fly out of Van Nuys, and we're going to the East Coast, everywhere from DC to Maine, and everywhere, all the states in between on the eastern seaboard. They have space in the shelters. They love large breed dogs. Here it's a real problem. We're at capacity almost all the time. The numbers of beautiful dogs being euthanasia would break your heart. Like, it's brutal. So we're trying to get them out. So Wings of Rescue is unique in the sense that when they're not flying into active natural disasters, and also when they do fly in, like they didn't have to in LA, but they did like the Texas floods, that horrible thing with girls. They would fly in like humanitarian aid, veterinarian supplies, and then dog food, cat food, desperately needed. So anytime there are hurricanes, they're there. So they had done they were there in the Bahamas for Hurricane Dorian, and Nassau, or whatever you call that, was it Providence? That island did not get hit, but all the other islands took all their dogs and put them on Nassau, and then it became like an overpopulated stray problem. Anyway, it entails just, you know, you fly nonstop kind of, and then so we'll load them at like midnight in Van Nuys, say. That's a typical. The Bahamas was different, but Van Nuys, you load it like midnight, take off at 1:30, refuel because it's a slower plane, so it's like only 300 knots.
Air tractor.
Yeah, dude. It's and then refuel somewhere in like Nebraska, and then we end up usually like say I don't know, Maryland, then we go to White Plains, and then Maine a lot. Maine takes a lot, and then I'm sprinting to catch a flight home and they fly me home commercially on whatever Delta, and I'm back, but I'm usually back like that trip in particular. I'm back in like 25 hours, like all the way across.
We just made it back though. I mean,
yeah, last night. Right? Yeah. We went a little bit early. We went 2 days early to actually physically help them because it's the Bahamas Humane Society, and the deal is they're not euthanizing, which is awesome. The problem is they can't. They're understaffed. I mean, the dogs they're fed and they're watered and they have shelter, but it was kind of like walking into a horror house in terms of it just expanded everywhere with buildings. And then you'd go into the interior and there's more dogs in crates. Some are under tarps because of the heat, 6 per kennel. And it's not the people's fault. You know, they're trying their best. We're going to try and do something to raise money for them and actually try and fly more out of there. But the cool thing about Wings Rescue is, you know, they came in during that Dorian and flew a bunch out. Like they actually stayed there for 3 months, and every day this guy Rick did flights nonstop. I'm like, how you do that, bro? He's a warrior. And then they could have left it there. It's kind of a hard thing because a lot of that shelters in the U.S. would be like, why are you bringing in dogs from another country? And they're like, that's not the mission. We're trying to save as many as we can. If you were ever here in person, you saw what's going on, it'd break your heart. It was tough to see.
That sucks, man.
But yeah, it was cool. Like being a part of that group. So I became flight crew leader, and then I recently got appointed to the board for them. So I'll just do the quick segue. I was on the original Baywatch. I made it. I hunted down this job on the new one on Fox, which has been awesome. And so I go in for my wardrobe fitting, and all the women inside wardrobe are like huge dog lovers. And the supervisor comes in and she's awesome. She's like, wait, what? Wings of Rescue? And yeah, and I was like telling her the same thing. And she's like, do you want to wear one of their t-shirts when you're on camera behind the bar? And I'm like, yeah, are you kidding me? That's like $gazillion advertising for free. Right. They ran it through their legal channels and Wings of Rescue's channels. Like in 4 days, it was cleared. Like I've never seen
that's
it.
Crazy.
Yeah, Fox is amazing.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
Right. When does this start? I mean, I've seen you on social.
Yeah.
And then you're swimming the beach.
Yeah. That's yeah. Thank you, man.
I mean, and then you're getting the sets ready. You're pulling everything in. What's your bar look like?
Oh, it's dope, dude. It's
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go.
David's gonna come back as like a mentor, but he owns a bar.
Yeah. But I'm also active lifeguard. They haven't tapped into my water skills yet, which is kind of driving me crazy because I'm the one guy who can actually do it all.
You got it?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it since I was little. I grew up sailing and lobstering and driving boats and taught sailing. I went to the Junior Olympics and windsurf racing. So I've been on boats. And then that's the reason, like, when I got on Baywatch the first time, I was already on a swim team. I was already a certified scuba diver, and I could drive the boats. And when they saw, because a lot of times they want, like, so say that's the crew. They're in the water. The crew, there's 5 guys around the camera on sticks. They want you to come flying in a wave runner, spin it, stall it, say your dialogue over your shoulder, and peel out. And I could do it on a dime. Mike Newman could do it on a dime. The guy, he passed away like a year ago. But everybody else, man, they were like, you know, the rocks and the crew's like quickly, they were like, you're no. And so when they saw what I could do, they just started like writing these more elaborate rescues. So, but yeah, no, being behind the bar is cool. It's fun. You know, I've never been on, I kind of compare it when, you know, when you're playing maybe AAA baseball, then you make it to the majors, because the set design is like insane, bro. Like, It's a big bar with TVs rolling surf movies, Florida, like ceilings covered in surfboards, skateboards, rescue boards,
Epic.
lifeguard pictures everywhere. Taps that pour fake beer actually work. Like,
What?
I'm so used to working on a movie, bro. Where they're like,
Nothing
yeah,
works.
that doesn't work. You're gonna have to do that off camera
Yeah.
and then bring it up, pretend like it was a pour out of the tap, and then bring it.
That's all.
So the sets are amazing. Cast is solid. You know, they didn't have enough time to do enough water training, but I think they're pulling it off somehow.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting. I go in when it's like a really big rescue. It's like 911. It's like the Batman call. Cody comes in. So
yeah. You got to flex, man.
yeah, I'm waiting. I'm
Yeah.
just like
They don't bring in the big guns for just anything.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know,
can't. No,
it's got to be big.
it's got to be major. It's got to be major.
That's awesome, man. You know, I know that there's a lot of fans out there. That was the most watched TV show of our time, I believe.
Yeah, it's
Is
crazy.
do you have the numbers? Is that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not faking that, right?
No. So it was 1.1 billion people watching per week, and there were only 5.5 billion on the planet at the
Wow.
time. Like, we're in the Guinness Book of World Records, and luckily they chose a cast photo that was one of my
You
years. I'm like, yeah, baby,
You
look
look
at this.
good.
Show my daughter. She's like, yeah, well, I don't care. But yeah, it was, there wasn't a lot of options, but they penetrated the global market. Like, I've been to places, man, like, blow your mind. Just
Right.
that, and they're like, Baywatch.
Yeah.
It's great.
You're
Like,
what?
like how do you
Yes.
possibly know?
Hello.
Like, there were most from met people from Siberia. They're obsessed with Baywatch in Siberia. We were in the Galapagos. We get in the boats. It was on a geographic tour, which so the main boat obviously doesn't go to shore, but you take these ribs in.
Mm-hmm.
Life jacket, and they have a red rescue can. Everybody gets in, and the guys start talking about the can. They go, okay, this is the can. If you fall in, we're going to throw, it's called Pamela. We're going to throw you Pamela. I'm like, no way. So I wait a couple days, and then I tell them, and they're like, what? I showed them some stuff, and then took tons of pictures with them. I'm like, Baywatch has reached every corner of the planet. I don't think there's like, when you think about it, what else has reached every corner of the planet?
No, man, that's epic.
And like the
Powerful.
Amazon, they'd fire up generators. There's like stories back, like legitimate, just to like somehow they had it rigged and they could see it. Like, anyway, it's cool, man. And I think this version, it's not a reboot. It's basically taking the show from 1990. You kind of take away the 2 Hawaii years that didn't work. So 1999 was my last year because they were moving. And you fast forward, it's the heart and soul, the same DNA of Baywatch, minus kind of some of the stuff that was, back in the day, we had episodes with like an electric eel in a cave and stuff. And we'd be like, oh, really? Or the alligator in a storm drain. We don't like, and the bar is actually a legitimate great place because the actors, when you're on duty, which you can't be talking personal anything. Yeah. It's like a huge, like, no. So like, we kind of broke that rule a little bit on Baywatch because we had nowhere to go at night because the sun set, the show was kind of over. Now the lifeguards have a place where you can see the real people behind the red trunks, which is awesome. You can show good, bad, and ugly, and it's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. I got this given to me by a good friend of mine. He says, his name is Joe, by the way. What's something that the fitness industry pushes hard that you think is junk? Because you've been in this condition for, since 1999, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I had a setback. We'll talk about that, but
okay.
I don't know about like really junk. I mean, I'm not into those pre-workout things. I tried those for a while. I thought my heart was going to explode before I was going to like accelerate.
Did your face tingle and everything?
Oh, it's horrible, dude. I was like, this is a nightmare. Like, and I went for the heavy stuff really quick. Like, let's try this.
the best, most powerful thing. And like, that was a bad idea.
That was a bad idea. I kind of know in general, for me, because what I learned on the first show was I quickly learned like, okay, I was probably the most fit. So, and I worked with my acting coach every day. I'd go to the gym, like it would work 12 hours or, in the sun or 10 hours, then go to the gym, then go work with my coach privately. Like, and I'd just do that every day. And I grew as an actor and I grew maintain my fitness all the time. And fans respond, the writers then respond, and then you're in more episodes. it's just like you can make you manifest your own destiny in a way. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, they're probably thinking I'm 58 and like these younger kids are in better shape than me, but like, just wait. I'm just waiting to take my shirt off next album. There's only one guy who's gonna be beat. This guy Thaddeus LeGrand, but he played Division I football, and he's a beast. But he's super cool. The rest of them are.
We'll throw a picture up of Thaddeus.
Yeah, Thaddeus he's awesome. He's a super talent. Yeah, in terms of like how do I just have a.
I mean, pre-workout sounds like your answer there.
I just that's the okay. Yeah, that's the one.
I mean, that sounds. I mean, honestly, it sounds like you didn't have pre-workout before. You had good habits.
Yeah. And then form discipline.
Yeah, then discipline.
Yeah, not motivation, because motivation comes and goes like the wind.
When did you realize that discipline was more important in some cases than talent?
I think the more I listen to a lot of like Jocko.
Yeah.
I listen to even Joe Rogan at times will like really get some good stuff out. Goggins, obviously. DJ Shipley is I think amazing at what he's. His micro wins, I followed that pattern when I went through my injury. Him and then Huberman. I combined I ripped from all of them and formed this and then stuck to it. I do it all the time.
You came up with something recently. You pulled all those things together and you came up with a theory.
No, it's DJs.
It's DJs?
I'm not taking that.
Oh, okay. I heard something. I was like,
they clipped it, so it made it sound like, David Chokachi's program of micro wins. I'm like, no, it's DJ Shipley's.
Yeah, was it? Yeah,
he calls it stacking micro wins.
Yeah, micro stacks. Yeah. It's like stacking goals or stacking, the habits of goals. Was it Clear? James Clear wrote that, habit stacking.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, it's a little bit different the way Huberman talks about it.
Yeah. But, so like even Jocko, like the easiest one is like the biggest win is like you get up early, really early. Mm-hmm. So I got in the habit of getting up. It was like 5, then it's 4:30, and then now it's 3:30 in the morning, dude. And there's nothing I can do about it. Like I just got home from Bahamas and went to bed late and like no sleep, flying dogs still. My body at 3:30 a.m. is like, bang, and I just keep going because I don't know. I feel really good. I'm in a good spot in life, and there's so much I want to do. There's so much I have 2 dogs. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I'm trying to learn all the time. I always learn like a new knot every 3 days.
Okay.
Like I'm just trying to absorb as much and be the most resourceful person on the planet. I want to be with a guy who can kind of do it all.
Well, you're winning, bro. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, so when you're exercising new muscle memories with knots, I mean, really, that's something people skip out on. People are missing out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great, useful knots out there.
Oh my God, man. Knots that'll save your life.
Yeah.
Like crazy stuff. I mean, like bowling is the easiest one that never breaks and is easy to break apart, but there's so many others for fast tying. And it's a good way to I think work on like other parts of your brain. Like, we can obviously develop new neural pathways, and knot tying is like, it gets you into that space where I love it. I started making my own lanyards with beads on for like my knives and all my car keys. Yeah. And it's super like meditative. I'm just like, I kind of can do it without looking now. And I love it.
We used to make Ranger bracelets is what I think they used to call them. Yeah. It was cool. But survival wise, like having that rope is legit.
Yeah.
Like, so, you're not gonna catch me stepping on an airplane without a bracelet that has a little bit of parachute cord on it.
Because you can do,
so many things.
Yeah.
So many things. With
tourniquet, choke someone.
Oh man, I'm getting self-topic. We'll talk about knots later.
Okay.
Let's talk about your injury. You alluded to an injury. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Just because of so I was on. Well, first I tried. So I tore my left Achilles in 1995. In between series, we were on hiatus. It was March 3rd. We were shooting June 3rd, and I playing paddle tennis. What that is, like with that fits fast doubles, and I planted, changed direction. And I swore my buddy whipped his racket at my heel. I'm like, what the F, dude? Why would you throw your racket at my heel? And I jump up and like test it. And I was like, oh, I thought it was weird. Go to St. John's. I got a trauma surgeon on a Sunday night, dude, who was like, do you want to be athletic again? I was like, I'm shooting Baywatch in 3 months, dude. And athletics are my, are how I stay sane. So yes. So I had eaten that day. I had to be awake for the surgery. It was like 5 hours. There was only that much left on the heel bone. That guy was a wizard. I never had a problem with that one.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, never. He did this technique. He pulled it all down, just all the way up in the calf, drilled holes in my heel bone, tied it off through there. And it was incredible, super strong. And then fast forward to August 2021, I'm playing a cop in a movie. The whole movie's talking. It's a horrible movie. And 1/8 of a page is action where we're protecting
1/8.
1/8 of a page is, and we're in the hospital and protecting this girl who's been attacked. And I see the bad guy. So I'm on my phone or something like walkie, and I see him and I say stop. And then I go to sprint. And I'm in, it was like 1 a.m. It was super humid. I'm like, I'm in my room waiting for my time to go shoot the scene. I'm like, I don't need to stretch, like big mistake. And also I was in bad boots, and we did it once and everybody's like, let's go home. We're beat, we're tired. And then someone chirps in like, we're set up for it. Let's do it one more time. Do it next time. And but it was like, it was brutal because I knew exactly what it was. And they're like, oh, you probably sprained it. And I was literally punching a hole in the wall. I knew how bad, like what it was in front of me. I ended up finishing the movie. I ordered one more day. My flight to get back was the next. So I'm like, what's the point? Like once you tear it, there's not a lot of pain.
Yeah.
It's just, you have a 14-day window to get the surgeon, physical, blood work, MRI, x-ray, all that stuff has to be done and then get on the schedule. So I go to this guy. He's a shoulder expert who does orthopedics. He had done my buddy's Achilles, a partial, and I couldn't find the guy who did my left. And cut to a year after surgery, dude, my foot was loose, dangly, like could not plant.
What? Really?
Yeah. So, and everybody thought it was in my head. I go see 3 specialists. First guy at UCLA goes, I do not want to go into someone else's work. I'm sorry. I'm passing on this. I was like, okay. This second guy, who was an older gentleman, like all he does is Achilles. He looks at me. He's like, let me see you try and walk on your ball of your foot. Clearly couldn't. He's like, yeah, this is an issue. But he goes, David, you realize what you're getting into. Like, I can tell you're athletic and you're going to be starting the clock over another 15 months. And he goes, you're going to lose your effing mind. Those are his words. Third guy in Pasadena goes, younger surfer guy, family guy. He's like, it's like a wet rope. If it's not, once it's loose like that, you can't retighten. There's nothing you can do. I have to go in. He cut out over an inch and an eighth. That's how much of an error this guy made.
Wow.
It's crazy, bro. I was like, what? Anyway, start that clock over, and it's just a horrible injury because you're isolated.
Yeah. Could you walk?
6 weeks, no weight bearing.
No weight bearing.
And then just the most mind-bending, boring rehab. I mean, there's like people get together and like try and talk therapy through it, like because it's on like chats, because it's just so brutal. It just like it's increments, and that's all you're getting a day.
Yeah.
And so I was fine. I thought, and towards after the second surgery, I just felt myself going like dark. I went into like a really bad place. Like, my body's so used to and I've never been depressed before in my entire life, man. Like, I've always been the guy who's like, let's go, let's charge, dance with my dog, dance on the table with my dog, like fun, crazy. And then all of a sudden I'm like in a place where I don't recognize I couldn't find like that personality or any, and like an iota of like anything like of spark inside me. They, of course, so I go see a psychiatrist. They try meds. That was a mistake. I got off. This went on for a few months. That routine. I'm not saying any, like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling people what they should or shouldn't do. They just didn't work. When I got off all the stuff he kept loading on me, we moved to Malibu at the same time, full time. And I started cold plunging. And so this is 3 years after the first surgery. And all of a sudden in the cold plunge, I would just be torturing myself, like 41 degrees, 10 minutes, 3 times a day. Yeah. But I felt all of a sudden it was like bing, like a spark.
Yeah.
And it was like someone dropped a beacon like in that your total blackness. And I was like, what is that? And so I obsessed on that. And then it started to grow. And then I had enough of an interest because I felt like a little bit of life come back, where I was like, now I'm looking at like Huberman and Jocko and trying to peel all these things. And I pulled all these different elements. Like Huberman says, like, well, even watching sunrise. So that summer I watched probably 50 sunrises with my dog. Go down there pre-dawn, sit there. Well, you can watch it for 3 minutes. It's really good for your brain, your circadian rhythm. Walk barefoot, breath work, nutrition, no sugar, work out when you don't want to work out, community, you name it. Yeah. And I just did it like a nonstop for 2 months. And I went from from below zero to, I found a higher version of myself through that suffering, which is crazy. And now I look at it as it was a blessing because everything improved. Even my acting, I went on in September to do a really challenging role that required a lot of range and I just crushed it, dude. And I felt in command, and it's the strangest thing, but I think there's something to be said about suffering. You know, it's like, if you can write it out, because there were times where I was like, I was mostly like scared, like, how do I kept trying to find my way back, which is the biggest mistake, because there's no going backwards.
Yeah.
To who I was, and there was no going backwards. And once I stopped that thinking and realized, oh, it's only forwards, and I started doing all these stacking micro wins. It's like I feel like I have like a mini superpower. Like that, and then I started like the early wake ups, and now it's like I never miss the early wake ups because it's gold to me. Even if I'm like I was exhausted from that trip, and I'm still like, I got to do it, because if I get up late, I mean, I could try but my body wants to go at 3:30, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And if I get tired, I jump in the cold plunge, and I'm like wide awake again, like ready to go. And I try and stay active almost all day, eat dinner, clean dishes, stay on my feet. And then when it's time for bed, like I used to be able to read at night, like for a good half hour, and I can't. So now I just like shit on my family, or just massage gun myself for about 5 minutes. The thing's like vibrating off somewhere, and I'm like out. And then, yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, well, Oprah Winfrey, I think, says that you have to turn your wounds into wisdom. And that's a process that no one talks about.
Yeah.
And so thank you for taking us through that journey.
Absolutely. I think it's like something, I don't, I guess in the middle, I wish if someone in the middle of it said, oh, okay, you're really into nature. Why don't you try this? Like sit under a tree, walk barefoot, blah, blah, blah. I probably would have come out of this thing faster, but I discovered it on my own. And I think through that suffering, when you come out, you just got to hang on. Basically, it's like a storm. It's going to end. Yeah. But it's going to pass, and you just got to ride it out no matter how bad it feels. Cause I'm telling you, there are times where I'm like, I didn't care what happened. I didn't care. Like,
I get that, man.
Yeah. And so to go from that to a place where every day I want to like squeeze the most out of every hour, it's like, it's pretty cool. So there's a lot in there, I think, that we can learn.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted Now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now.
Entrepreneurs, you're wasting money. Are you paying for TV, radio, maybe even newspapers? I gotta tell you, that's all dead. What's new? Well, I'm glad you asked, Atlas. It's podcasting. Just so happens I have a very successful podcast that I can put you on. And we're looking for guests. So if you have a product or service that will help people, hit us up. Atlas Aultman Targeted Podcast. We bring new audiences to new people, and we bring new people to, well, you check us out.